Oh, you didn't know?
I told somebody.
Ben stretching out before the big podcast. Look at him. He wants to be a pro wrestler.
That's right, he is. The jumper of the month, Ben McMillan.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the greatest podcast to ever come out of Greene County, Pennsylvania. And I might get in trouble for even saying that, because I don't know any other podcasts that come out of Greene County, Pennsylvania.
Someone's going to issue a I don't know.
Cease and desist?
Or just
threatening letter?
Or what do you call it? Like a challenge. Like they're going to call you out.
Ooh, a
like,
challenge.
No, my podcast. But I'm not saying my podcast, but they're going to say like maybe my podcast.
Maybe have a Royal Rumble of some sort?
I like it.
Maybe.
Right? Well, I am Steve Barrett. I'm your host. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. This is episode 7. Holy crap. 7. We've made it to 7, everybody. And Adam has literally been on like 100 of them already.
Yeah, I've been
and
on
it's
a lot of these.
awesome. I think you might as well just move in here and hang out here with us.
Actually, I just live in the back room. I just hang out back there.
Wait a minute. Who does invite him? He does just come out of the back,
You guys
doesn't
just
he?
start recording, I just be like, oh shit, it's time to do that again.
He has a Pegasus van or something he pops out of.
Well, he lives in a van down by the river. All right. So, here,
That's great.
all right. So I am Steve, as I've already said 3 times, and I got some crazy people with me. Another great episode, which the podcast where we talk about all things 80s, movies, music, TV, talk shows, game shows, whatever, toys, books, sports, news, fashions, trends. We're bringing back the mullet, folks. It's happening. It's awesome. And we got a fun one tonight. This is going to be one where you're going to want to really, really sit down with a cold beer and maybe put on some spandex and, oil yourself up a little bit, bounce off the ropes.
We should have stone cold some beer.
Oh, man. I was going to bring beer tonight, too, and I
Ben
forgot
would
to
not
do
have
that.
been
I'm sorry,
happy
that's
about that
90s.
with the gear.
That's 90s, can't do it.
I know, but
Well, let me introduce the guests. We're already
I wanna-
into it.
I
We
wanna
haven't
enter,
even
like,
said
stand
hi
up.
yet. To my left, as always, my good friend and my boss and my long-suffering podcast buddy here. Everybody say hello to the guy who makes it all happen, Ben McMillan, everybody.
Howdy, Steve. Tonight, tonight you're my boss.
Oh, I feel good. All
Is that
right.
like Who's Your Daddy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go get me a drink, bitch.
damn.
No, that is not going to happen.
Something like that, or you get Keystone Ice.
All right. All right. To my far right is a guy who's never been here before, and if we keep going like this, he'll never want to come back again. Great fan of the 80s stuff. He's weird like the rest of us, and that's why we love him, and we're happy to have him here.
We're
But he
not
knows.
That's bullshit.
Oh wait, what was it that you said last time that you could beat him at something? What was that?
Oh, we've had a wiffle ball.
Wiffle ball. You said you could kick Ryan's ass.
I'll,
at wiffle ball.
I'll claim I can kick anybody's ass at wiffle ball. It doesn't mean I can, but I claim a lot. of things.
That's going to be our thing. Yep.
Yeah.
Listen, he said it pretty confidently.
No,
I'm not trying to start a fight here.
I'm far more confident than I am talented.
Sounds as confident as a football player playing baseball.
All right. Ooh, I see some smackdown here.
He's not wrong about that.
Folks, you don't want to miss this.
One time I ended up in the softball batting cage because I was watching the girls practice, and of course that turns into me being like, yeah, I could do that.
And then you went in fetal position.
Wow.
No, the most messed up thing about it was, and I'll just declare, even if I lose, I just declare myself the winner. Like, so, but the release where because they released the ball underhand, you know, like, so the way it it totally threw me off. But I did get a hit. So then when they said that they did, I was like, well, wait a minute, I've never done this before, and I competed, so I obviously have beat you guys.
I play county league baseball, and I will say I cannot hit a softball.
It's weird.
I'm looking, and I'm like doing a beat with my left foot.
It was. I was like, oh shit! Like the first one that like flew past, I was like, okay, this is gonna be humiliating
nasty.
here. Yeah, I was like, this is not gonna go good.
So anyway,
What's the name of the podcast again?
Sorry.
It's potpourri.
I walked
wait
away
a
for
second.
2
You guys
seconds.
want us to leave? Ben and I can go get a sandwich or
Sorry.
something.
Yeah, exactly.
We're discussing the intricacies. I don't even know what that word is, but.
And by the way, everybody say hi to our other guest, Adam Joad.
Sorry.
I haven't even introduced him yet.
Yeah, please
Oh,
reintroduce
wait a
Ryan.
second. I didn't
stole
even
his whole
introduce
shit.
him yet. Far right, Ryan Baker, everybody. WWE fan,
Yeah.
80s guy, loves all that stuff. I'm the only one clapping for Ryan. What's up with that? Thank you. And to my immediate right, the man who is wearing the Ultimate Warrior shirt and the sunglasses. He's looking a little bit like a cross between Macho Man,
Oh, I thought it was Daniel Bryan.
The Warriors.
Macho Man Randy Savage, and the Ultimate Warrior. And he's a badass. Adam Joad, and lead singer, guitar player, Scattered Hamlet. Badass band. You got to check them out on Spotify. Check them out YouTube. They got some great videos. iTunes, right?
Yeah, anywhere that you listen to
Anywhere.
music.
And you have a
probably find
website too, right?
Yeah.
Got to check that shit out, man.
Google it.
Good band. And you're going on tour this summer,
That's
right?
true. Twice. Yeah, I've got a couple stuff.
Yeah.
Going to be out in June. Then we're festivals and stuff in July. So yeah, we got some stuff coming up.
The Swamp Rebel Machine might come to your hometown, so be sure to check it out. Yeah. Badass. Speaking of badass, this topic this week is going to be fun because it's about a bunch of badasses who wear underwear and pretend to hit one another. Yes, that's right. We're talking.
They don't pretend. They actually do.
We're talking about the 80s and the WWF, World Wrestling Federation, and the madness and the mania, right?
Yeah, definitely.
This is for all the Hulkamaniacs out there, the little warriors, the macho maniacs, right? This is for the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be.
Yeah.
This is going to be a fun one. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to kind of talk a little bit about the beginnings of the big 80s boom of pro wrestling. Share some of the highlights and lowlights, mostly highlights, thank God. Talk a little bit about some of the things that caused the explosion to happen, the big boom of popularity. And we're going to talk a little bit about the end of the explosion, the end of the boom.
In my head, that has never ended.
Right. Right. It did.
But time has passed me by a little bit.
The first big boom
That's right.
came to an end about 90, which is fitting for what we're doing here because we're going to focus on 80 to 89. There was a new generation boom in the early 90s, and then everything exploded in 96, 97 with the Attitude Era. So, but we're going to focus on the first boom, the 80s. That's the crazy boom that started it all. But before we do that, I want to mention our sponsor once again, our awesome sponsor, and this company is amazing. Let's start with that. Apex Giant. They have some awesome products, including the popular minimalist wallet, and they make all kinds of great stuff. And you can check out all their products on www.apexgiant.com. Made in the USA, great warranties, stuff that you can really use in your everyday life, whether you're a backpacker, hiker, or just an average smelly Joe like me. So,
Or Smelly Ryan with me.
right. Apex Giant.
Lifetime warranty on all their products.
Lifetime warranty on all their products. Made proudly in the USA in Greene County, Pennsylvania, which happens to be in the USA,
Yeah.
right?
It's in the armpit of Pennsylvania, I guess.
Oh,
you wanna
the
say.
armpit.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know.
Sometimes people get upset when I go in. Like, I went into the pharmacy the other day, and someone's like, "Your tattoo says Greene County." I was like, "Well, first, congratulations, you can read." And
Wow.
second, they're like, "Why would you do that?"
Yeah, why would you do
What'd
that?
you say? Well, number 2, specified location, Bucktown.
Yeah, well, no, I didn't even. I was like, I didn't even break out the Bucktown elbow. I was like, you know what? If you're gonna diss on the Greene County one, you can't even look at the Bucktown elbow.
That's right.
You can't even look at it. Don't look at it.
Well, for those of you wondering what the hell we're talking about, Adam has a badass tattoo on his elbow, and it is affectionately called the Bucktown Elbow, which is a legendary part of Greene County's history. It's a great place if you want to not be happy. But anyway,
Yes.
Bucktown.
Where you can go ahead and go get your car, your laundry washed and dried.
Yeah, you go to Bucktown Beer. You can
Bucktown Beer.
We can go get some lumber across the road.
Yes.
Stockyard.
Stockyard,
Yes.
and you can go catch some fish.
13 minutes in.
Check out the Bucktown Girls.
Really
Here we
back
go.
Okay, but you know what else is
Really
made in the
back in.
USA?
Apex Giant, baby. Apex Giant.
See,
Check
I'm
it out.
segueing into what we're
Wrestling.
supposed to be
There we
talking
go.
about.
So let's talk about the beginning of the boom, the first big boom of WWF, and notice I'm saying WWF, not E.
Yeah.
Right.
Listen, you animal lovers and your World Wildlife Federation that sued the WWF, it's bullshit, man.
Yes, it is.
That's why the panda had the chair in his hand when it switched over.
And that's why I don't like pandas to this day.
Yeah. You deserve to be extinct because...
Okay, quick thing. WWF had been around forever, right? Legendary. One day out of nowhere, there's a panda organization, an animal rights group. They're
World
called
Wildlife Federation.
World Wildlife Federation.
Okay, I understand now.
Yeah, and they sued and they won, so Vince had to change it to WWE.
I knew all that. I didn't know what the panda. What that meant. Whether a logo.
They
or
wanted
something.
to save
That's
pandas.
that's their logo is the pandas looking all cute and
Yeah.
cuddly, and then next thing you know, one's standing up because they can go on hind legs. He picks it up. It looks like he's going to do a chair shot right on him.
It's annoying.
Okay, now I get it. All right.
Talk 80s to me does not like pandas.
Nope.
No.
It's pandemonium, folks.
Oh,
Ooh,
my.
that was a pun.
All right? Puns are awesome.
Do you know when I will say I'm gonna throw this out there and I'm probably gonna fuck up your notes now.
Wow.
When the boom of the WWF in the 80s started was in January of 1984. Does anybody know what happened?
Of course.
What happened?
That's when Hogan beat Iron Sheik for
Iron
the
Sheik.
belt.
Exactly.
And it was supposed to be Bob Backlund, but he was actually injured, I think.
Yeah.
Okay,
It
well, you
would have
just-
been totally different if it was Bob Backlund, who did make a comeback at later points. But that was
Well, I
that
can
was
throw away in the
inconceivable.
first 3 pages of my notes. Cool, thanks.
Was that WrestleMania?
Yes, in Madison Square Garden.
I believe that's the one I watched when I met who was soon to be my mother.
Soon to be mother? Wait, I'm confused.
My stepmother. I just said it wrong. That's when I found out I was going to get a new stepmom.
Oh, really?
really?
Well, that's when I found out they were dating. I just thought I was watching a free pay-per-view. I didn't know I was getting a
That's
stepmom
how-
out of it.
That's
Yeah.
how they snuck that
That's
in
how they
there.
snuck
on you.
that in there. Yeah.
I thought that was a year before because 85 was WrestleMania 84.
Listen, we're going to get to it.
Because it threw me off because being that it was 84, because Hogan was already in like Rocky 3
I was checking my senility.
as
That's all.
Thunderlips.
Man, just take my mic off. Let them go at it for an hour and a half.
Okay, give the mic back to Steve. Go
In
ahead.
the beginning,
Steve,
God
tell us the
created the
origin.
WWF.
Listen, we only have 4 listeners now as it is. Okay?
Right.
Yeah.
And
In the beginning.
3 of them are sitting here.
In case if you guys didn't know, we actually knew all 4 of each other for decades.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's not like instant chemistry.
Wait a second. 3 of us listen to the show?
I don't listen
There's
to
4
it.
of us.
I don't
It just
listen.
occurred to me. Somebody here on this panel doesn't listen to our show.
Well,
All right.
you're good at math.
You slid that
In the
in.
beginning, God and Vince McMahon created the WWF. And here's what happened. In 1982, Vince bought WWF from his ailing father, Vincent J. McMahon, right? The son was Vincent K. Mm-hmm. What's the K stand for?
Kennedy.
Kennedy. Mm-hmm. Okay. On December 23rd of that year, he signed AWA superstar Hulk Hogan as well as Roddy Piper from Jim Crockett Promotions, and he also signed AWA manager Bobby Heenan. Mm-hmm. And thus begun. See, Vince had a plan, right?
Yes, he did.
On November 24th, 1983, Ric Flair defeated Harley Race for the NWA Championship at Starrcade. Now, I know that's not WWF, but there's a reason why I'm bringing that up, and it'll come up in a minute. Starrcade was credited with showing that a major wrestling event could earn significant income across many locations. Believe it or not, WCW was doing this before WWF was. Mm-hmm. And naturally, Vince McMahon saw what was going on and took it, decided to do it himself. On January 23rd, 1984, thanks for spoiling it, Hulk Hogan defeated the dastardly Iron Sheik for the WWF Championship at Madison Square Garden, and no, that was not a WrestleMania.
Was not.
It was not.
Okay, it was just at Madison Square
It
Garden.
was just
Okay.
it was just a card at Madison Square Garden.
Everybody should follow the Iron Sheik on Twitter.
Oh, my
It's
God.
the greatest
It's the best.
Twitter account ever.
He is insane.
Yeah, no, he's amazing.
And I
Right,
love
he's
it.
amazing, but he's insane.
He retweeted one of our No Jabroni tattoos before.
Really?
He claimed it was his, but he was wrong. It was actually one of ours because they took it from us. But it's acceptable because we took the word from him. So.
There we go. Well, Iron Sheik also had.
Cameraman Zoom.
Yeah, and he would put me in the camel clutch and make me humble.
There's a fascinating documentary about the Iron Sheik on Prime, Amazon Prime. It's a must watch. It's pretty cool. But anyway, Vince saw the writing on the wall. He knew he wanted Hogan to be not just the champion, but the guy to put the federation into the mainstream.
He's the guy.
Right. I mean, he knew that he had the golden ticket right there with Hulkster. And interestingly, not too many people know this, but Hulk started his career as a bad guy. He was called what they call a heel, Ben. Have you ever heard that? A heel and a face. A heel's a good or a bad guy. A face is a good guy. You're going to be hearing a lot of stupid slang throughout the show, right?
It's not stupid.
It's
Kayfabe. It's kayfabe.
1, 2, 3,
Jinx, you owe me a Coke. Anyway, and very few people might know this too, but it's believed that Hogan also very early in his career started a porno, but I have not been able to confirm that.
He's in another porno where he bangs that one guy's wife.
Oh yeah, that's Bubba the Love
yeah,
Sponge,
Bubba
but that's much later.
Okay. That's
Okay.
that didn't happen in the 80s, but it got Gawker shut down. I'm pretty sure.
Yes. So after January 23rd, 1984, when Hogan won the championship, WWF then began promoting wrestling shows with Hogan in the main event at shows outside of the territory. Now, this is interesting to know, for those of you who aren't familiar with this. Back in the day, there were territories throughout the United States. So like the WCW at the time was called NWA. They were in the South. Vince's WWF always stayed in the Northeast. And there were other ones. There was Georgia Wrestling. There was Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
AWA.
AWA. Everybody just kind of it was an unspoken bond between the promoters to just leave us alone. We're going to do our own thing, local TV coverage. We're not going to try to take your guys and bring them over here. Vince, and they did that since like the 20s, probably even earlier than that. It was an unspoken rule that you just respected the territories. And Vince came in like a freaking hurricane and said, nope, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm taking everybody's best guys. You're going to fold, and I'm going to create a monopoly. And it's exactly what happened.
Yes.
So Vince began ruffling feathers by going outside his territory and also signing with top stars from other wrestling promotions. Unheard of at the time. Not surprisingly, he received a lot of death threats for basically killing a lot of these smaller independent promotions.
That's crazy.
Which leads us into the next part of the boom. Boom hasn't happened yet. Hulk's on top with the belt. Vince is taking other guys. And then Vince gets a brilliant idea to kind of tie into MTV and get involved with Cyndi Lauper and Lou Albano. And this all started, well, let me read some of this. Once Vince began monopolizing, WWF success would blow up in the mid to late 80s and carry into the early 90s. Their first success was the Rock and Wrestling Connection in 1983, when Lou Albano was a star in Cyndi Lauper's videos. Girls Just Want to Have Fun. I think there was a couple of them actually. So that tied in, they did a cross promotion. Cyndi Lauper started showing up on the Piper's Pit. And that they got Wendy Richter and the Fabulous Moolah involved, right? And Wendy Richter was Cyndi Lauper's girl, and Fabulous Moolah was Lou Albano's. And Piper was typical Piper, stirring up a lot of crap in between them. And Richter and Moolah fought for the title, the WWF Women's title, on July 23rd, 1984, and it was mainstream called it the Brawl to End It All. And Wendy Richter defeated Moolah and won the belt. This also led to the September 14, 1985 debut of Hulk Hogan's animated TV series. Anybody remember this?
Yes,
Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling. Surprisingly, the series stayed on for like 3 years, which I didn't know. I thought it tanked and disappeared pretty quickly. Which then leads us into the first WrestleMania, Ben. You excited now?
What year would that have been?
1985. Marketed as the Super Bowl of professional wrestling, WrestleMania 1 was held at Madison Square Garden in 1985. It was broadcast on 135 closed-circuit networks.
That might have been the first one I did watch. I was about 12, 13 years old, so...
But you couldn't watch it on pay-per-view.
I'm pretty sure it was a pay-per-view. So which one was on pay-per-view? I'm getting ahead of you, probably.
Yes, you're getting ahead of it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we already did that, and look what happened. We got chastised.
I think I watched the first one. It was on pay-per-view. So.
Does anybody remember what the main event was for WrestleMania 1?
Yeah, it was a tag team.
Yes, it was.
Okay, let me think about it. It was Mr. T and Hogan
Right?
versus, I want to say, Paul Orndorff.
Yeah.
And
I already said his name.
Roddy Piper.
Roddy Piper, that's it.
I remember when Hulk and Paul Orndorff split, and he's like, I broke bread with you, brother.
Yep, that's it.
I remember that promo.
So the show was a huge success, and this is disturbing. Hogan appeared that same year on the cover of Sports Illustrated in 1985, and by the end, it was second in popularity that year, only behind the swimsuit issue. So Hogan was big, but he couldn't.
Skipped over where he beat Rocky.
Well, yeah, I'm getting to that.
No, that already happened, dude. If you're in 85,
Yeah,
that
I know.
happened
I'm just saying. We got okay. Well, let's bring it up here. I do have a note for that. But Hogan also made mainstream news by starring as Thunderlips in Rocky III,
Also known as my ex-wife.
well, oh my God, which also starred Mr. T, and then the crossover led Mr. T being Hogan's partner at WrestleMania 1, and if you remember WrestleMania 2. Piper actually boxed Mr. T in one of the matches, and Mr. T won by disqualification when Piper punched him in the nuts. God, I love Piper. Anyway.
If you try to explain this to people that never saw it, they're just like,
I know, it's
so
great.
confusing.
They're like, what the hell are we talking about?
Wait, I thought he was Canadian. No, he's Scottish.
So after the success of the first WrestleMania, major TV networks began to take notice of WWF popularity, and in May of 1985, NBC premiered Saturday Night's Main Event for the very first time.
Good stuff there.
Now, this leads into the next phase of the boom, which is, we call it Hulk, Andre, Savage, and Miss Elizabeth. And this is where the boom really starts to take shape. So in March of 1987, WrestleMania 3 was held at Pontiac Silverdome in Detroit. 93,173 people in attendance for WrestleMania 3, largest recorded attendance for a live indoor sporting event in the United States. Again, huge for a sport where grown men oiled up in underwear hit each other. It's pretty amazing. Ben just gives me that look.
Oh, yeah, dig it.
The main event was called the Body Slam Heard Round the World. And the main event was
For WrestleMania 2?
WrestleMania 3.
Oh, that was Andre and Hogan.
Right. And they called that the Body Slam Heard Round the World. Why?
Yep. Because he picked him up and body slammed
First
Andre.
time ever.
And nobody knew if Andre was going to allow him to do it.
Right.
That's what everybody was worried about. Because
Yes.
nothing happened unless Andre the Giant decided it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't.
He did not want to be slammed because he thought it ruined his mystique.
And then, of course, the internet comes around and we realized that Andre got body slammed a few times in different other places.
Yeah.
But back then, that was a
never
thing
happened.
saying, oh my goodness, this never happens.
Right.
fake news.
But he didn't want to be body slammed in front of
Fake news.
93,000 people, which made it different. Okay, so in February of 88, WrestleMania 3 rematch ended in controversy. You guys remember this? Andre won thanks to evil twin Hebner.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right. I forgot.
Andre covered Hogan. Hogan popped his shoulder up, but Hebner counted the 3 anyway. Andre's the new champion. Andre then hands over the belt to Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, right? And of course, the president at the time, Jack Tunney, said, no, that you can't do that, so we're going to have a tournament, which led to WrestleMania 4 at Trump Plaza. And at the same time, Macho Man, who had been a great heel with Miss Elizabeth, had a great freaking rivalry with George the Animal Steele.
Oh, yes.
You remember Steele fell in love with the lovely Miss Elizabeth and was biting turnbuckles, and Savage kept beating him up.
Beauty and the Beast story. It's great.
Unbelievable. But they turned Savage babyface, and he began feuding with the Honky Tonk Man.
Yes.
Who I met and hung out with and had a beer with.
Reigning Intercontinental Champion.
Right.
Also, I want to also put a little tidbit. Believe it or not, he actually was here at Rain Day with his own booth. Mm-hmm. And I still have somewhere in storage, I still have his photograph with the signature.
You're talking Honky Tonk Man.
I'm sorry, yeah, Honky Tonk Man. And then let's just say he was very, very salty.
Now, you ready to have your mind blown?
Please blow it.
What?
That's shit's getting weird.
I'm the guy that bought Honky Tonk the Rando. True story.
Really?
I was working for the Greene County Messenger at the time. We had a connection. We reached out to Jay Andronico, who was the marketing guy.
Hang on. How does this happen? Like, I mean, were you at a meeting uptown? You're like, we need the honky tonk.
Yeah. We said
For
we
real?
need to
Like,
get a
of all the
wrestler.
people that you
I'd
could,
love to get a
okay.
wrestler.
No, I'm not denying. I'm just wondering how, like, that's just so random.
So I called them up and I said, hey, I'm working for a local paper. We got a big event here. There's going to be thousands of people. Could we get a wrestler?
Hundreds of people. Hundreds of people.
They didn't need to know that. In fact, I might
Everybody
have told,
look up Rain Day, July 29th, Waynesburg, Pennsylvania. You gotta
Yeah,
learn
it's pretty
all about it.
amazing.
Would you lick Andre there? No. Honky Tonk Man or nothing.
We're going to take honky.
Listen, I'm pretty sure I told the WWF at the time that there were 10,000 people coming to Rain Day.
Hey,
So they might have been a little
Raccoons gets
disappointed.
Honky Tonk Man.
But Honky Tonk Man showed up. I got a great
That's why he
picture
was
of me and him
pissed.
hanging.
That's why he was salty and pissed. You told him there's going to be thousands of people.
It all
makes sense,
ties
man.
in.
And there's
Yeah.
like 30 guys from Bucktown that came up. We're just like Honky Tonk Man.
gonna be
Somebody
tens
else
of
invented the
dozens.
Bucktown elbow already? I can't.
What I was leading to was he was sulky because he had to hang out with me all day.
That makes sense. That's why
it.
we're all salty now.
Go back now. I'm reining it in. Savage, good guy Savage, wins the WrestleMania 4 tournament. And the Mega Powers form, baby. Remember the Mega Powers? Oh, the handshake. Oh, yeah.
I didn't mean to leave
the
you hanging.
handshake.
I'm just excited out there. There's just so many. See, the problem is, and it's probably good that you're like leading this conversation. It's going somewhere because I could have literally stopped at any of those names and we could have been
Absolutely.
going, and we could go off for like 20
But we're
minutes.
going to. Trust me.
Yes.
We're going to get to this. I'm almost done with the
No, it's
origins,
fine.
with
It's
the
cool.
beginning.
No, I think it's great.
Slow build, Mega Powers explode, though. In 1989, Savage turns heel again, turns his back on Hogan. Actually, that was a pretty controversial thing because Savage was getting his rear end kicked in on Saturday Night Main Event.
That was fake news.
And what?
Savage never.
Do you know who was beating him up? The tag team of the Twin Towers, which is Akeem, the African Dream,
Yes.
and the Big Boss Man.
Yeah.
They were beating up Savage. Miss Elizabeth gets hurt. Hogan, instead of helping Savage, scoops her up, takes her out of the arena.
That's acceptable.
Right?
Well, yeah.
No. You don't leave a bro hanging in the middle of a match for some chick.
I'm going to have to side with Adam.
For the fabulous Miss Elizabeth, probably.
Yeah.
It's. I think Randy. If this situation had been switched, I think Randy.
Bros before hoes, man. That's all
Chicks
I'm saying.
before Hicks or Dicks.
Bros before hoes. Chicks before what? No.
Chicks before Dicks.
Oh, okay. So with the
I
heel
said
turn, we now have it set up in 1989 at WrestleMania 5, again at Trump Plaza. Hulk Hogan, the Immortal, beats Randy Savage, heel Randy Savage, to win the championship once again, and I was very upset.
Yeah.
So
By this period of time, I was off the Hulkamania train, and
Yes.
I was
A
like,
lot
all
of
right,
people
I'm
were.
done with this. You know,
Right.
like I was to the point, like I've always liked the heels better anyway, but
Yes.
I can appreciate a good baby face. But
Yeah.
like it was to the point where it was just like, come on, man, you know, like I was very excited, you know, finally when the Ultimate Warrior
Sure.
era came in and stuff because it was just different. It was like,
Well,
you know,
right. So we say 1989, Hogan beats heel Savage to win, and they historians say this was the end of that first boom. The era ends. WrestleMania 6 on April 6, 1990, considered to be the end of the 80s wrestling boom, and it's called the passing of the torch. Hulk Hogan loses cleanly for the first time in his WWF career to the Ultimate Warrior.
That is why the Warriors have come.
Yes.
Get in the cockpit, Hulk Hogan.
Vince did it because fans started getting tired of Hulkamania
Yeah.
and the cartoonish aspects of the
It was
WWF.
played out. Like, I mean, as somebody that, you know, like, we grew up, like, little watching those, and it was like, hey, take your vitamins, say your prayers, that's all cool. But then the Warrior came.
Yeah.
There's
And then
this-
you hit puberty and saying, I already got my vitamins. How much more do I have
like,
to take?
This
Yeah,
guy's
I don't wanna take
badass. I
vitamins.
was like, this guy paints his face and is badass. And that was...
I don't want to take my vitamins. I want to look at Miss Elizabeth and touch myself in very bad ways, you know.
That's exactly it.
That's it. So anyway, I just wanted to say this with the end of the era. I just wanted to
No, I was all ultimate. I wanted to, like, eat Anadrol and freaking run around and yell about it. The Warrior. That was what I thought, like, you know.
So with
But
the
I'm
end of the
strange
boom,
boy.
I just want to say Miss Elizabeth leaves WWF in 1992. He goes to WCW. Hogan leaves in 93, goes to WCW. Savage leaves in 94 and goes to WCW.
Yep.
So that was the end of that era. Okay.
You want to hear? I do have to comment about one wrestler because this is a funny story. We were on tour and there was a band that we were co-headlining with. I won't call his name out. I'm going to call part of his name, but and there was a drummer for that band, and I wanted and he was a younger guy, so we would bust his balls all the time. And one day we found out his last name was DiBiase, right? So we're like, dude, I was like, are you related to the $1 Million Man? And he put his head, and he's like, that's my uncle. The world changed after that. We're like, no, pretty soon he went from us busting his balls, and he's a tremendous drummer. I love him to death. But it was like, we instead of messing with him, like he became like royalty. Like
the hero.
Our whole camp is like walking around, like asking him questions.
Yeah, he became like the guy, like you sat.
Like, hey, everybody get out of the way.
Yeah, like you sat cross-legged at his feet and let him tell stories.
It's almost like the great reveal when you have all the vignettes. And, coming Monday.
I talked to him later. I was like, dude, why didn't you lead with that when we were busting your balls? And he was like, I didn't think anybody. I was like, oh, we care. Like, you don't understand. Like,
exactly.
You could have been related to like the president of the United States when they had the impact.
Even Honky Tonk Man.
Yeah, even Honky Tonk Man. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. So that's my Ted DiBiase.
That's awesome. So, all right. So now we're going to talk briefly. I just want to spend a couple of minutes here to talk about how crazy this is. I did not know until I did my research here that there were 9 different shows that had WWF programming on it in the 80s. 9 different shows. All of them were in syndication. You know, how we know wrestling now is SmackDown's on Fox and Monday Night Raw's on USA Network.
Yes.
Back in the day, it was all about syndication, and every market, every market had a different time zone, a different channel. It was whoever was willing to pay, for the syndication rights. So some places wouldn't be able to watch wrestling until like 6 o'clock in the morning or 7, and some places wouldn't air it until like midnight or 1 o'clock, depending on where they had space to fill it. So it was weird. So the first programming, it actually started, I didn't know this, in 1971, and it ended in 1986, called All-Star Wrestling. And the show was taped every week at the Hamburg Fieldhouse in Hamburg, Pennsylvania. Where the hell is Hamburg, Pennsylvania? I don't know.
I think it's on the other side of Whopper.
I love that.
Are you sure it's not
That's
down by
funny as hell.
Blacksville? It's still, you go past Sprague's and you're out near Blacksville.
All right, have it your way.
You're in Hamburg.
And there's key dive by. Hamburg. Okay.
Where the hell is Hamburg, Pennsylvania?
It's got to be like out east towards the place that I don't count as part of Pennsylvania.
Well, that's where you take a girl for her first date. Hamburg.
Hamburg.
That's right. It's
gotta
not
be
a
out
place.
here.
It's our dinner.
What do you think, like near Harrisburg or Philadelphia or somewhere?
It's probably out there by
be.
Lake York or something.
We act like we don't know. We have phones in front of us.
Yeah, but we're busy right now.
Yeah, hang on.
Okay.
Find out where Hamburg, PA.
Second program they came out with, again, debuted in 1971, called Championship Wrestling. And that was one of the original shows. It included all the stars of WWF. It also had interviews and championship matches. The show lasted until 1986 and was the flagship of the WWF's programming until it was replaced by Superstars of Wrestling in 1984. Interesting fact. In 1984, the show Championship Wrestling used Thriller by Michael Jackson as its opening theme. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's between Harrisburg and Philadelphia.
Wow. You called it. Mm-hmm. All right. So next program that they debuted called All American Wrestling. That started in 1983. It's a cable television. This is where they went to cable TV. And I believe it aired on the USA Network. It did. And then, of course, I mentioned Saturday Night's Main Event. That actually had 2 stints, 1985 and 1992, and then 2006 to 2008. The show aired occasionally in the Saturday Night Live, and sometimes in prime time. And
they would do a 90-minute spot, I think, once a month.
Yeah, and it was popular, and it had very, and this was interesting. I didn't know Saturday Night Main Event was also broadcast on ESPN Radio. How do you listen to wrestling on
that
the
would
radio?
be all about the people, and doing the announcers. I mean, think about
Yeah,
it.
I mean,
Well, if you're going to have War of the Worlds on the radio and everybody believes that aliens are here, why not have wrestling on
yeah,
there?
but that would be weird.
But would it, because think of that, like I remember like my grandma listening to high school football on WAMB or something.
It'd be like watching this podcast without YouTube.
Yeah, it would be weird.
Like Spotify. We're on Spotify
It would be
now.
Spotify.
That's right.
We're on there now. You listen just the audio on Spotify.
All right, so let me run through this. A wrestling challenge from
Trying to help
1986
him out.
1995.
Tagged in.
Superstars of Wrestling from 1986 to 2001. The main event, 1988 to 1991. Survivor Series Showdown. I did not know about this. It was on from 89 to 93. It's a WWF series of special television programs that aired on USA between 89 and 93. The show aired 1 week prior to the year's respective Survivor Series pay-per-view. I did not know that existed.
I didn't either.
I'm saving the last one for best, though, because Primetime Wrestling debuted in 1985. And if you remember that show, it was also on the USA Network. They had a bunch of hosts in the beginning, but then it found its groove when they paired up Bobby the Brain Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon.
That is the best.
And that was the show. That was the main show before Monday Night Raw.
Every once in a while, didn't Lord Alfred Hayes show up every so often sometimes?
And Sean Mooney and Mean Gene Okerlund. There was a whole bunch of them.
That's sweet.
So, yeah, a lot of programming, but it was the Superstars of Wrestling, which then led into Monday Night Raw. Mm-hmm. And here we are today, 30-some years later. Raw is the longest-running episodic television series in history.
Even with Simpsons?
Yeah, episodic
Vince,
TV, yeah.
Vince is like
I guess,
he's like the Hugh Hefner of wrestling.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. He just needs a grotto.
I think he has one somewhere.
I want to talk real quick about the WWF pay-per-views in the 80s. So the Royal Rumble, right, the one in January, the big one, it debuted for the first time ever in 1988. First one aired on USA Network. It wasn't a pay-per-view. They aired it for free on the USA Network. Oh, wow. And it was won by who? Who's the first ever Royal Rumble winner?
Andre.
No.
No.
I'll give you a hint, but you're going to know it the second I do the hint. So, actually, let's see if Ben knows if I do this hint. Ready?
Okay, give me a hint.
Oh,
shit.
Nope.
Nah, I didn't think so. Hacksaw Jim Duggan, baby.
That's what
Hacksaw.
All right.
Won the
That was
first.
going to be my second guess.
Yeah, won the first ever Royal Rumble. Now,
You got like a cheat
Do you
sheet
know
under
who the
the
last
last
person he threw out was? I'm curious about that.
1 year later, it debuted on pay-per-view Royal Rumble. Guess who won that?
Andre.
No, but
I'm going to run with that.
this guy wrestled Andre in WrestleMania 1.
Big John Studd?
Big John Studd, baby. He won the second Royal Rumble.
Nice, that was solid.
Yeah, dude, I'm impressed. Next one, WrestleMania. Here's some notes. On March 31st, 1985, the very first WrestleMania would take place at Madison Square. Celebrities included Muhammad Ali, Cyndi Lauper, Mr. T, and are you ready? Liberace.
Oh, that's right.
Liberace.
He's the king of like bling, and he knew
King of
the
bling?
swagger.
I was thinking more Queen, but okay. Yeah, well, let's go with that. Back in the mid-'80s, there was really no...
I'm triggered. I'm triggered.
Back in the mid-'80s, there was really no pay-per-view, so the only way fans could see the events if they were not able to be there live would be to go to a closed-circuit location, mainly a gymnasium or an arena, and watch it on a giant screen with other fans. This would continue for the rest of the 80s for the first 5 WrestleMania events. Interesting. By the mid-late 80s, pay-per-view was starting to appear on some cable companies, and fans were able to see the pay-per-views at home. But WWE still offered the closed-circuit option for people who did not have the pay-per-view capabilities.
Later on, like video too, because I remember watching
Coliseum.
Yeah,
like
They had the
Coliseum
Coliseum.
video.
Yes, yeah.
And you can actually watch it right now on the WWE on the Peacock.
Yeah.
That's all I've been watching lately is the ones I didn't see. Super Tape.
Don't jump the gun. We're going to talk about WWE Network.
Yeah, that's all I watch on Four
Yeah, right?
and Rocky Four.
And Rocky
He's
IV.
going to smack my hand with a ruler about now.
Sorry.
By the start of the 90s, closed circuit was no more, and pay-per-view became the permanent choice. So in 86, WrestleMania, this is interesting. You guys remember how crazy WrestleMania 2 was in 1986?
Yeah, definitely.
It would take place from not 1, not 2, but 3 different cities in the same night. Crazy. The event took place on April 7, 1986, which was a Monday. Weird, because all their big ones are usually on a Sunday. Making it the only WrestleMania that was not held on a traditional Sunday until WrestleMania 36 in April 2020 made it Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
So, all right. Anyway, WrestleMania 2 took place at 3 venues: the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum in New York, the Rosemont Horizon in Rosemont, Illinois, and the Los Angeles Memorial Sports Arena in Los Angeles, California. The main event in Uniondale was a boxing match pitting Mr. T against Roddy Piper. In Chicago, the main event, this must have been a terrible main event. WWF Tag Team Champions Greg Valentine and Brutus Beefcake defended their titles against the British Bulldogs.
That's amazing.
Davey Boy Smith and Dynamite Kid.
About?
Greg Valentine and
the
Brutus
Hammer, I follow him
Beefcake.
on
That was the
Instagram,
dream team.
dude.
They were the two of the worst actual wrestlers on the roster at the time.
No, Brutus the Barber, you're insane.
No.
Yes, pre Barber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the British Bulldog, Brutus Beef. Yeah.
I disagree.
Yeah.
And it's my show.
Wow, you're wrong.
And the main event in LA featured WWF World Heavyweight Champion Hulk Hogan defending his title against, it was in a steel cage match,
King Kong Bundy.
King Kong Bundy. You're right, Ryan. Jeez. I wish we had prizes.
Remember when King Kong Bundy was on Married with Children?
Yes.
There's only two things I know in the world. It is pro wrestling from
And
back
women,
then.
women, right?
I
I'm
can't
just taking
figure
a guess.
I can't figure them out. That's why I'm still single. So
Gotcha.
no, it's just going to be classic rock.
I thought you were going to say, and women's clothes.
That's the next
They
podcast. I
prefer to
believe.
be called Mormons.
Women's. Woman's. Some more notes. On March 29, 1987, a world indoor attendance record. We talked about that, 93,173. This is considered to be one of the most historic and memorable build-ups to a WrestleMania main event because it lasted like almost a whole year of a slow build-up. Andre was still a good guy, but he was getting jealous of Hogan's popularity and blah, blah, blah. And the highlight, of course, Hogan slammed. How much do you think Andre the Giant weighed at this point, and how tall was he?
He was like 500 pounds.
500 pounds and 7'5".
Hogan's a big dude too.
Yeah.
Like not that.
He looked
big,
little
but-
compared
but
to
he
Andre.
little
6'6",
compared to-
6'7" or something?
Like, if I stood next to Hogan, I would look tiny, and I'm like 6'1".
Standing next to me, you look tiny because I'm never mind.
Because your chair's higher.
Yeah, because you're sitting in the high chair.
Touche.
WrestleMania 3 would also showcase what many fans believe, even to this day, one of the greatest matches ever, when Macho Man Randy Savage and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat
Ricky Steamboat.
would put on a wrestling clinic for the Intercontinental title and
my
steal the
fa-
show.
Oh, there we go. Now
Ricky the Dragon.
now I'm Gary Coleman.
Well, different strokes, guys. I guess.
That's exactly. But by the way, that's probably the best.
Everybody's
That's a
got
bet.
special kind of story. So
That's
I'm
right.
singing to different strokes.
Well, that's copyright. Thanks. You just got us sued.
That's probably my a lot of people say that's probably the best match ever.
In the history of wrestling.
Ooh, that's
Yes.
that's
That's
And-
interesting.
And if it's not, it is right up there. I will testify to that because I tell you thing right now, I had such a climax of
Oh, whoa.
Speaking of that,
Wow.
put your microphone towards your mouth.
climax.
Poking you in the eye.
When you have a climax like that, go for
yeah.
it.
Well, I was just going to say, and then next thing you know, you're like, you still have another 2-3 matches, and you still have Andre and Hogan.
All right.
But
This
that was
is
to
unbeatable.
the point where
You need a tissue. Go ahead. What?
80 some years ago, I'll be like the Titanic lady.
You need to be left alone for a minute or two to compose yourself.
Yeah, there's
Anyway,
no
what are you
commercial
gonna say,
breaks to
Adam?
clean up.
Hogan's move when he does the arm and they drops it, but then the third one comes up and he starts shaking because he has
Yes.
the power.
Yes.
That was pretty
Absolutely.
cool. I'm a big fan.
Boom, boom, boom. The shake off,
Yeah, he's
the
like,
U, the fist, and then the famous leg drop.
The
right?
leg drop. Yeah,
that's it.
that's not an awesome move.
You know how many people died in wrestling from Hogan's leg drop? Quite a few. Okay, WWE title would be vacant heading into WrestleMania 4. We talked about that already. Savage and Hogan would team up for the remainder of the year and form the Mega Powers. All right. Blah, blah, blah. We talked about that. Okay,
hats
Survivor
are awesome.
Series is next.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to talk Survivor Series. Debuted in November of 1987, held in November, generally the week of Thanksgiving. It is the second longest running pay-per-view event in history behind WrestleMania. And the event is traditionally characterized by having Survivor Series matches, right? The tag team elimination, 4 against 4, sometimes 5 against 5.
Who's the greatest WWF tag team of all time?
Ooh, well, that's coming up. Oh, if we can get through this real quick. All right.
Do I get to pick my own?
Yeah.
It's the Mulkey brothers.
There's only really one right answer.
I was going to say the Ding Dongs. Do you remember the Ding Dongs?
I remember them. Yes. I remember them.
They dressed up as giant peni. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Ding Dongs.
All right.
Anyway,
So from my climax to your ding dong.
that does not sound good at all. Main event of 1987 Survivor Series. Andre the Giant, Butch Reed, King Kong Bundy, One Man Gang, and Rick Rude versus Bam Bam Bigelow,
Rude,
Don Morocco, Hogan, Ken Patera, and Paul Orndorff in a 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination match.
Epic.
Main event of the 1988 Survivor Series. Think about this, how terrible this sounds, right? Main event. Akeem, Big Boss Man, Haku, Ted DiBiase, and the Red Rooster.
The Red Rooster.
Versus Hercules, Hillbilly Jim, Hogan, Coco Beware, and Randy Savage in a 5-on-5.
They did Terry Taylor wrong.
Yeah, they did.
I tell you what, man.
There was a guy that came down, painted his hair red, spiked it up. He looked like a rooster, and his entrance theme was a cock-a-doodle-doo. Yeah.
And he's one of the officials in WWE now, if I remember.
And then real quick, the main event of the 80s.
You know what I just was writing down just to tell you? That you said Paul Orndorff, and I was actually like, I take notes on my phone, and I was like, why don't I refer to myself as Mr. Wonderful? That's actually what I was putting him in.
Mr. Wonderful,
so
Paul
everybody
Orndorff.
out there that's like, oh, he's like on his phone now. Oh, no, I'm actually taking inspiration
Yes, he
from
is.
professional wrestling.
And
putting
Ben
it
can
in
be
my phone.
Bastion Booger.
Yeah.
You will now identify Adam as Mr. Wonderful.
Yes.
I think it fits.
I dig it.
Dig it. Mm-hmm. And then real quick, the main event of 89 Survivor Series, the Heenan family. Bobby wrestled in this one. Heenan, Andre, Arn Anderson, and Haku
Arn Anderson.
versus the Ultimate Warriors.
about that.
Which was the Warrior, Jim Neidhart, and the Rockers, Marty Jannetty and Shawn
the
Michaels.
Rockers,
In a foreign
Oh, that's when Neidhart had the checkerboard and stuff like that. It wasn't pink, so he had the yellow checkerboard.
Yes.
My buddies wrestled the Rock and Roll Express not too long ago.
Really?
Like, they
What?
came back.
Wait
yeah,
a second.
yeah.
They're still wrestling?
Yes, they came back and like did a kind of like I don't know, like I don't know if it's, I want to say it's a farewell tour, but they did like a big comeback thing.
Never mind the 80s. They're in their 80s. They gotta be.
They wrestle
did,
for the NWA, and Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins is the one that runs it.
Yeah, so some of my friends did the tag team.
I hate
against them.
Smashing Pumpkins,
and I remember
man.
I was like stoked. Like they're actually doing it. I'm probably more excited about it. Like I'm like texting them before they go. I was like, dude,
Wow.
Check
Just
your
put
shit
this in
out.
perspective.
Yeah.
The Rock and Roll Connection was a huge tag team back in the early 80s. And they weren't young then. I mean, they gotta be pushing 80.
They had some. He still has that. Ricky Morton still has that like weird. Well,
Oh,
it's
my
not. It's
God.
not that mullet kind of thing. It's like a little different.
That's scary.
Yeah, I was fond. But I was just excited because like that's.
That is.
And I did dress like
for
Ricky
them,
Morton
man.
for Halloween when I was in elementary.
Don't you wish like if I don't know how old he is, you know, but like if I was that age and could still like pro wrestle and put on a good show and they were working with people that you know are in their prime and stuff and they're holding their own.
Aren't you glad that you know people like this that know all
I
about
thought he said
wrestling?
Ricky Martin. I've been thinking about something else now.
Wait.
You want to start talking Menudo? I can go there too.
Living to
It
Vida
was
Loca? Is
Ricky
that what we're
Morton.
talking about?
Morton like the salt.
Yeah.
All right. Last pay-per-view, I wanted this couple notes.
Members of Menudo than just Ricky Martin.
The last pay-per-view, the big one that I want to talk about, SummerSlam. The inaugural SummerSlam took place on August 29, 1988 at Madison Square
I
Garden.
did not know that.
The main event, what was it?
Oh.
Main event of 88, the very first SummerSlam. And there's a reason why I'm bringing this up. I'll tell you. Mega Powers versus Mega Bucks.
Oh.
Hogan and Savage versus Andre and Million Dollar Man with Jesse the Body Ventura as the
Jesse.
special guest referee.
Okay, yeah.
Now, do you remember why that match was so legendary?
Andre's last.
Well, nope. Something happened very special for us horny males at the very end of the match.
Was there a malfunction or wardrobe malfunction?
Miss Elizabeth. Savage and Hogan were losing. It was looking grim. And then they put their secret plan in place. Miss Elizabeth jumped up on the apron and ripped her skirt off, revealing a very, very tight pair of red panties.
That's right. Yeah.
See, I was gonna go to.
And it was wonderful.
Yes.
I was gonna think. I was already thinking that. Fuck, I can't remember what I was gonna say now.
Let me just say that after seeing that, I took care of my Mr. Wonderful that night. Go ahead. What were you saying?
I was thinking about Jesse Ventura and the Predator.
Oh, yeah.
He was
Great.
killed by the Predator. That's what I thought we were talking about.
I ain't got time to bleed.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Predator. Great movie.
I bleed my own blood.
And then just to say, the SummerSlam main event of 1989, this was bad. Brutus and Hulk Hogan versus Savage and Zeus.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was the whole no holds barred era. One of the worst movies ever made. Anyway.
Nah, you're wrong there too.
Oh my gosh, I'm wrong about everything according to Adam.
Yeah.
So that's the pay-per-views. Now we're gonna do Pick the Brain here. All right?
Or lack thereof.
Pick the Brains in honor of the deceased, the late great Bobby the Brain Heenan. This is what we're calling it. And we're gonna call this Pick the brains.
I'm going to win. Just saying it. Just calling it now. I'm going to win.
All right. We're going to ask you guys simple
confident.
questions. We have quite a few of them, so we want to make this as brief as we
We're
can.
gonna go fast. We're going fast.
Fast. All right. I'm going to start with Ben on this one.
Lightning.
No, he's saying no.
I was kidding. Go ahead.
Greatest heel wrestler of the 80s. Greatest heel wrestler just of the 80s.
Are you
Turn
asking
that
Ben,
boom.
or who are you asking? You got to
Go.
tell us. Oh, Rowdy Piper.
Piper, yeah.
Ooh, that was
Yeah,
unanimous.
what was it? Yeah, definitely Piper.
I would agree as well. He was the most charismatic. Savage was great as a heel, but Piper had the Piper's Pit. The coconut was Jimmy
Yeah,
Snooker. Right?
And Frankie
Everything.
Williams embarrassing him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's so good at that.
Greatest baby face of the 80s. The 80s only. I know you're going to go with the man on your shirt. Right?
No, I won't say that because, I mean, if you had to say, like, the greatest, I mean, Hogan's the face of it.
Yeah.
You can't really argue. Like, just because that didn't identify with me, I mean, how can you argue against Hogan?
Well, let's do
He's
your
the guy.
favorite then, baby face of the 80s.
Oh, favorite beat.
Ultimate Warrior.
Ultimate Warrior.
Why are you saying baby face? Is that what
Okay,
you're saying?
baby face means good guy.
Didn't you hear this earlier, Ben? It's baby faces and heels.
Well, I actually said face.
I'm still
Face
thinking about
and
Ricky
heel.
Martin. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Heels are bad guys. Baby faces or faces are good guys.
All right.
So
Got
when
it.
we say greatest baby face, we mean whoever the crowd cheered for. So
I would have to say Piper again because he was good in the 80s too, I think.
he was good for, yeah.
And he
at
actually
the
did
end,
a
he turned,
very good
yeah.
version of the
And he
face.
had a phenomenal WrestleMania match with Bret Hart for the Intercontinental title, which I consider one of the better matches. But yeah, he was a great face and a heel, but he was more of a heel that in
Yeah.
the 80s.
But Hogan, yeah, he's, I mean, as far as favorite though, I mean, you know, besides Ric Flair, I would have to say Piper.
Flair, yeah, you're right.
You know, yeah, I mean, especially how Heenan came up there on Tuesday Night Titans and saying, "I got this belt. Guess who's coming?"
Yeah.
See, if you okay, look, we got to go back to the heel thing again. If you said the greatest heel of the '80s, then I say Rowdy Piper. But
Right.
if you ask me the greatest heel of all time, it's Ric Flair.
Oh,
It's Ric Flair. Obviously, you have to say that.
That's like he's the goat.
Woo! All right. Favorite overall, I'm sorry, greatest heel manager of the 80s. I don't know how you can't say Bobby the Brain Heenan. I mean, there's others.
I like Jim Cornette too. Yes.
Right.
Oh yeah, Jim Cornette
You had
was good.
Slick, right? You had Lou Albano,
Fred
who was also-
Blassie.
right? Classy Freddie Blassie.
Who was that?
Kimchi with
Oh, he wouldn't have been.
Kamala,
Who's the guy with the freaking the megaphone?
Jimmy Hart,
Jimmy
Mouth
Hart,
of the South,
yeah,
Jimmy Hart.
yeah,
Jimmy
that's a good
Hart,
one.
Yeah. I forget
Slick,
Slick. I say Heenan.
Heenan definitely
Yeah,
hands down.
Heenan's kind
All
of.
right. Here we go, Ben. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Favorite overall wrestler of the 80s. I guess we kind of answered that already. All right. Here we go. Best tag team of the 80s. Best tag team of the 80s.
The Legion of Doom.
Wow.
That's my favorite though.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I only know one. Was British Bulldogs like a team?
The British
That's
Bulldogs.
the only ones I know.
The Hart
Davey Boy
Foundation,
Smith
so-
and Dynamite Kid. They were great.
I'm gonna have to go to Moondogs.
Yeah,
Ooh.
Moondogs, Rock and Roll.
The
Express,
Moondogs.
Well, but they didn't have a big career in the WWF though.
They were enhancement talents.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah. So they would always wrestle the Samoans, which Afasika.
Right.
But,
What about the Conquistadors? I love those guys. They lost every match. They were great. And you never knew who they were because they always wear those matching golden, weird.
That was the WWF version of the Mulkey Brothers.
Yes. For the record, I say the Hart Foundation.
Yeah, that's pretty hard to.
Right.
What about
Bret
Killer
Hart and
Bees?
Jim the
Gets no
Implement
love.
Hart. Best announcer or announcers of the 80s.
I go with Mean Gene, man.
Mean Gene.
He just is such. He played it so straight. I mean, he might not be the most entertained, but he was like the.
Get closer to your mic. I have a hard time hearing you. Sorry.
Yeah, he just is so. I don't know. He just played the straight role so well. I just always associate him.
On commentary for the pay-per-views, I love Jesse the Body Ventura because he
yeah,
was a
yeah.
blatant heel. He loved it when the bad guys cheated. He hated it when the good guys did something they shouldn't be doing. Look at that. That's an outrage. And,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. Oh, did you see that? No, my monitor went
Yeah,
out.
he's, I don't know what you're talking about, Gorilla. I didn't see nothing. It was
is
great.
good.
It was fun. Gorilla and him were great, and then Gorilla and Bobby were great too.
Oh, definitely.
Greatest memories / moments of watching 80s WWF. What stuck out to you, like the most?
I got a new stepmom. I already
Yeah,
told the story earlier.
yeah.
That's
Ben
pretty
got
cool.
a new stepmom.
Yeah.
This one is actually off the wall.
Imagine
so I remember
that.
that. Yeah, I know, right? So WWF was at Superstars, I believe it was. And I remember I'm sitting in my living room and they said, Roddy Piper is going to be in a handicap match I was excited because everybody, you got these big people that's like Andre, Big John Studd. They always do the handicap.
Right.
He actually was in the handicap match by himself. I was so psyched. So I ran from my living room into the hallway, and my bedroom was catty corner. I literally flew in the air, dropped the elbow right on my bed, and completely broke it. The reason why I remember is because my dad comes home and he goes, "You're not watching it." I said, "But it's Piper in a handicap match." And he goes, "Well, it's going to be your ass broken."
Wow. Wow. So you broke your arm, right? Was it your arm?
No. I broke the bed.
You broke the bed. All right.
It was one of those iron ones, like the back 80s ones, like almost like a wrought iron. I mean, I completely went down on it. And I'm like, man, I should be signed by now.
Wow. That's crazy. How about you, man? Any memories that sticks out? Whether it's you watching it or whether something that happened on the program.
The one that sticks out to me
forget.
was Lawrence Taylor making an appearance.
Well, that wasn't 80s. Though.
Wasn't that in the 80s?
No, that was 90s.
Was it 90s?
No.
Yes, it was, because it was WrestleMania 11.
You looked this up?
WrestleMania 2 with the fridge. It was in the Battle Royal.
Oh, is that what you were talking about? I thought
No, I was talking
when he
about
was wrestling Bam Bam Bigelow in the main event.
Oh, yeah.
Lawrence Taylor came in and wrestled Bam Bam.
Because I was thinking he was in that.
But I don't think he was in that Battle Royal in WrestleMania 2.
Maybe not.
Anyway.
Yep, NFL linebacker Lawrence Taylor. No, oh shit, that was 95. I'm
Yeah,
like way
WrestleMania
off,
11,
man.
right
Yeah.
before.
So I got all
Way off.
So
The refrigerator, then we could go with that.
Yeah, Fridge. Fridge made his debut from the Chicago Bears not long after winning the Super Bowl, that great team that we talked about before.
We did that last week.
And he was in the Battle Royal inside WrestleMania 2, which was won by, does anybody know?
Andre the Giant.
No. Bad News Brown.
Oh, wow.
I was on one of those wrestling sites, Facebook group. Somebody posted his picture, and I'm like, man, that dude can do a Goto blaster like nobody's business.
That was his finishing move, by the way.
That was an Enziguri, I think it was, or something.
All right, ready? Guys, we got to move through this. Better era of the WWF, 80s or 90s overall?
80s.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go with the 80s because it was magic then.
Yes,
maybe
it
if I'd have
was.
been younger when the Attitude Era came out,
Yes.
I would have a different.
And
opinion.
Attitude Era was like the last 3 years of the 90s.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
And we got to enjoy a lot of craziness in the whole decade of the 80s, man.
It was nice too because you can still see the older generation. You got Bruno Sammartino still showing up.
Yeah.
Did a few matches in Madison Square Garden. That's where basically everything is melded together right there is when we were kids.
The greatest memory for me, but I don't think it was in the 80s, is when Shawn Michaels turned his back on Marty Jannetty on the barbershop. But I think that might have been actually 90.
That's actually my favorite Heenan commentary.
Oh, yeah.
Where
He
says,
was sick to his stomach at Shawn Michaels.
Well, no.
And he goes, oh, I knew he was going to do that.
Well, not only that, he says, look at the act of cowardice. He jumps through the window. He jumped through the window because I'm like...
This is going to be fun. Ben, you might actually be able to answer this one. Better movie, Roddy Piper's They Live or Hulk Hogan's No Holds Barred?
Oh, come on. There's no comparison here.
That's They Live.
I mean, we're saying No Holds Barred, right?
No,
Come on.
They Live is the movie, man. I mean,
You ever see either one of those movies, Ben?
No.
Wow.
You can come here, chew
Obey.
bubblegum and kick ass and a whole lot of
Consume.
bubblegum? Come on, man. That's where all Shepard Fairey's art comes from and stuff.
Let me just say, John Carpenter directed that movie. Great movie.
Ben, you need to go watch that movie.
Yeah, like right now.
They Live.
They Live.
Yeah, you
Which
should.
one's that?
It's with
It's
Roddy
Roddy
Piper.
Piper.
You should actually. I actually believe that you would enjoy that.
I actually feel like I did watch that movie.
Well, the
Yeah.
famous quote
It's
is,
a
I came
movie.
here to
It's a
cook.
real movie.
I came here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No Holds Barred.
I think I did see that.
And people are aliens when he puts on the sunglasses.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's messages. Conform, obey.
That's why I'm wearing sunglasses right
Consume.
now, because I can see who's aliens, and I'm happy to say there's only one alien in the room right now. I'm not going to point out who it is.
I thought the future was so bright. That's why.
But midway through They Live is one of the most brutal fist fights between him and I can't remember the actor's name. But there is a fist fight that literally takes about 10 minutes out of the movie. And it is one of the most brutal fights you'll ever see on film, and it's amazing.
I can't remember.
And all Piper wants to do is get the guy to wear the damn sunglasses, and he won't do it. So he's like, if you're going to wear them, I have to beat you into submission for you to wear them. And then it's one of the most brutal fights ever.
All right, what's it called again? I want to make a
They
note.
Live.
They Live, yeah.
1988, I
for
believe.
that? Like
That sounds
fight?
about right.
Yeah, it's 88 or 89, I think.
Yeah.
But it's later. And it's John Carpenter who made, of course, the greatest horror movie ever made, Halloween, and made also a slew of great movies. The Fog,
That's
Christine.
you're saying bold things against
No, that's not an opinion.
greatest
It's a
horror
fact.
movie.
Christine, The Fog, In the Mouth of Madness, The Thing, Escape from New York. He
These
had
are
a
all
great
great
run.
movies,
Right.
but
Halloween's the best.
People Under the Stairs.
He didn't do that one. Wes Craven did that.
Oh, that's right. It's Wes Craven. Yeah, they're all good.
All right, here we go. As far as talent goes, your opinion, most overrated wrestler of the 80s, as far as
Hogan.
talent goes, right? You got to say Hulk
Yeah, it's
Hogan.
Oh, yeah.
Hogan had 5 moves.
yeah, he got
was
it.
it.
Yeah, he's smart.
Most underrated wrestler of the 90s, 80s, as far as talent goes.
Ooh.
People, like a great wrestler, but didn't reach that mainstream. And I know who I'm going to say. And it's,
I'm going to say, in a lot of people, Ivan Putski.
wow. I'm going to say Rick Rude.
Yeah.
I say Rick Rude or Jake the Snake.
Snake, yeah. Rude, I mean, actually, neither one of them ever got a taste of the championship belt. They were always considered mid-carders. Rude actually could wrestle, but for some reason, he never reached that next level. He always was in like mid-card feuds, you know, and Jake too, actually. They both had a great feud with each other. So, what's is better as far as athleticism, entertaining to watch, the bigger guys or the smaller guys? And what I mean by that is the mountain men who have 5 plotting moves, but they're big and they're massive, or the littler guys like Shawn Michaels who could just run, you know,
I think
circles around everybody.
I think it takes both to keep the.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's both. You know, like I think there's a place for all that in there. And, you know,
And for the record, I am not a Shawn Michaels fan. So,
Ooh, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
yeah, I'm just.
Yes, he is.
I mean, is he
No,
talented? Sure, but he's.
you're not going to get him in my top 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy
You're probably not even my top 20, actually.
If I liked him, it was when he was a Midnight Rockers in AWA, and that's about it.
Wow.
Maybe.
I mean, I don't I love his shtick and stuff, but yeah, he just doesn't.
Wow. I'm shocked. I'm actually shocked by this.
The
I
only
thought
time
we
I
would
also saw
all
that-
be in agreement that he's on the Mount Rushmore.
Oh, no.
In my opinion.
He's not even at the foothills.
Yeah.
Wow. This is insane.
He's not even have the ice cream
What's
truck at the
happening here?
end.
Yeah, he has to sign the guest book at the front.
What's happening? The Pirates are in first place. These guys are dissing Shawn Michaels. Dogs and cats living together. It's crazy here. It's
I'm
chaos.
telling you, exactly.
All right. When did you realize or learn or discover, and how, that WWF was fake?
First, it's not fake, and I refuse to acknowledge that this ever happened.
Which came first, Santa Claus or WWF?
We had that discussion when a certain person couldn't make it because they were stranded.
Yeah.
But we had that discussion outside.
Let's
And-
not bring that up.
And it was Hulk Hogan and Iron Sheik driving together, and it was in Pro Wrestling Illustrated.
Yes.
And they
Somebody
were pulled
snapped a
over
photo, and people were really upset about
because
it.
they was busted with weed and cocaine, I think it was. And they're like, wait a minute, 2 mortal enemies together?
One good guy and one bad
Was
guy.
that
That's
Hulk in
crazy.
there and Sheik? It was definitely Sheik. I don't remember who it was, but yeah,
So
I know.
there was
But
a time people thought it was real.
Yeah. Big
It
time.
is real.
Sorry, Adam.
It is real.
Cover your ears.
Bullshit.
It's still real, Adam. It's still real. Come on. We're just kidding around.
It's real to me, damn it.
We're just kidding around.
I thought it had to do with
When I
certain
go to
states they
wrestling
wanted to perform in. They were getting, wasn't that something to do with like a
Yeah.
legal thing? They had to announce
What
it.
eventually happened was there in certain states that the arenas that they were playing at, that
get
they were
insured or
performing at, well, it was more about paying extra, like taxes and stuff. That you could get a tax break or some kind of
If
a
it was
discount or a
entertainment
break
versus sporting
right. If it's a
event.
real sporting event, you had to pay a lot more money.
Yeah, you have to have athletic commissions.
Yeah,
and
all that
It's
stuff.
a lot of red
And that's
tape.
where that sanctioned and unsanctioned bout come up because it was legitimately
Right.
sanctioned or unsanctioned.
Yeah.
So Vince realized that they could save a crap ton of money and avoid the hassle of having to deal with the commission every time and everything. So they had to come out and publicly admit
Steroid testing.
that they were in fact entertainment and not a sport. Adam, I'm sorry.
No.
Okay.
That's
They just have
devastating.
predetermined outcomes.
All right. Favorite storyline in 80s WWF. Andre turns on Hogan before WrestleMania 3. Rude hits on Jake Roberts' wife and has her face airbrushed on his crotch.
That's right.
True
That's
story.
wonderful.
Savage uses the bell to crush Steamboat's throat, leading to the legendary match at WrestleMania 3.
And the
Everybody
ring
thought
bell,
that was
too.
real, by the way.
That ring bell too, the week before on Challenger or something whatever.
Roddy Piper bashes Snooker's head with a coconut.
Yes, definitely.
Evil twin Ref Hebner causes Hogan to lose the belt to Andre. And
Dave and Earl.
the Mega Powers explode. Which one of those storylines was your favorite?
They're all good, man. Yeah, I can't say anything bad about any.
Definitely has to be Andre. I mean, just being up in Piper's pit, and then next thing you know, you see him just grabbing for that necklace, and then the cross dropping down. That's not only about the vitamins and exercising, but you took that man's God down.
Right. Yeah.
That was serious. That was serious back then.
I do remember laughing my ass off when Rick Rude had Cheryl Roberts' face on his penis. Airbrushed on his pants. It was pretty damn funny.
His pelvis move
And
with
he
it.
was swiveling his freaking.
Her mouth was closed, and then it was open, closed and open every time he danced.
It was pretty hot, actually. WWF champion, real quick. All right, so that's pick the brains. You guys cool with all that?
Yeah,
I'm cool. Yeah.
I want to tell you real quick. WWF champs in the 80s. So Sheik won the belt on December 26, 1983, from Bob Backlund, right? Hogan wins it January 23rd, 1984. Andre wins it February 5th, 1988, through the controversy.
Oh, yeah.
That means Hogan had it for 4 straight freaking years. Wow. That's insane.
He's the Roman Reigns of the 80s.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Ted DiBiase.
That's another. I cannot stand Roman Reigns' character. I don't know him personally, but
he seems like a decent dude, but his character doesn't do anything.
That's not 80s.
I mean, he got over cancer. Like, there's many things that he's overcome, and he seems like he's an awesome
By
dude.
relationship,
But
it is.
But
Wild Samoans.
Okay, let me finish. After Andre won the belt through nefarious means, he handed the belt to DiBiase. DiBiase, however, is not credited as a champion because the president at the time stripped him of the belts.
Bullshit.
It is bullshit.
In my heart, Ted,
Conspiracies.
You had the belt, man.
The title was vacated in 1988. President Tunney refused to recognize DiBiase as champ, and that's why he had the tournament. Savage wins it March 27, 1988, and then Hogan wins it back April 2nd, 1989. So Hogan obviously had the belt a ridiculous amount of time.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so other quick news and notes here. By the end of 87, stars like Ultimate Warrior, $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, Ravishing Rick Rude, and Jake the Snake Roberts were all becoming top stars and household names. The tag team division was also heating up at the time as teams like the Hart Foundation and Ben's British Bulldogs were putting on classic 30-minute tag matches every time they stepped in the ring. New teams like Demolition, who would hold the tag titles for a record-setting 16 months.
They're just like JV, the Legion of Doom.
Yeah.
The one guy's originally from Brownsville, by the way.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, I've actually met those guys, and they're pretty cool. But
I'm
here's
sure
the thing:
they are, but-
Vince tried to sign Legion of Doom.
Yeah.
They wouldn't
yeah, no,
go.
That makes sense.
And he got pissed and made his own Legion of
Yeah,
Doom.
that's
exactly what it was.
Listen, I would have jumped on that deal too, man.
Definitely.
So Demolition debuted late 80s, as did the Rockers, and that would feature the debut of the legendary Shawn Michaels. It says here, legendary.
No,
might I
you
add.
wrote that.
Exactly. He's not even going to be on the Bucktown salt dump.
He's not going to be in the Bucktown.
The Rockers were considered on a regular basis to have the best matches on the cards throughout the late 80s.
And the Rockers are just like a ghetto version of the Rock and Roll Express.
Yeah, but they were
Yeah.
better, though. They were better.
Yeah.
They were more talented.
I'm not going to.
Rock and roll
I
is
won't agree.
No, Express is better.
How far are we? How long have we been talking?
Hour and 10 minutes.
All right, we're almost done, guys. And then let me see here. Okay, we talked about that. By the close of the decade, WWF unfortunately would make negative headlines in the media because by 1989, steroid scandals were starting to rear their ugly heads.
They did not do any steroids.
No.
And that's why my arms are not as big now.
During a decade, drug usage among wrestlers would become widespread, and we would start seeing deaths happening as a result of steroid abuse and other drug abuse. These guys would be wrestling 300 days out of the year, and they had to take stuff, to just keep going because everybody was scared of losing their spot on the card. So they'd have broken bones or, whatever, and they would just take painkillers and go.
And
it
if
was
you don't mind me interjecting, but that was the big thing in the 80s straight across the board. Look at the parts, You
Yeah.
have Del Barra, Rod Scurry, and all those. But anything to perform, they had to go ahead and take, or so they felt.
Drug use in sports and entertainment was rampant. I mean, there was just no doubt about it in the 80s. I mean, it was just the drug of choice was cocaine, but everybody was popping pain pills and everything else. It was football, it was
I wish
baseball,
I
it
was
was everything.
older in the 80s. I missed all this awesomeness. This is what I'd probably be dead by now, but I'm bummed out.
Hey, I got a trivia
I was
question.
far too young.
So you guys know who Tim Raines is, right?
Yeah.
Do you know why he slid face first all the time? Because he has vial Coke in his back pocket and he didn't want to break it.
I respect that.
Yeah.
I believe that too.
Don't break my coat.
Yeah. I mean, I read, now if it's true, I don't
Didn't
know. But
Billy Ray Cyrus sing that song, Don't Break My Coke?
My achy, breaky heart.
All right, real quick, and we already talked about it, but WWF would release their first movie entitled No Holds Barred, starring none other than the legendary Hulk Hogan, and that was debuted in the summer of '89.
Was that an arm wrestling movie?
That was
No,
over
now
the
that's
top.
over the top.
Oh, it's
I think.
over the top. That's what
Yeah.
I'm confused.
That is
Crap.
good, though. Yeah.
No Holds Barred is considered one of the worst mainstream movies to ever be unleashed to an unsuspecting audience, and it made money the first weekend because WWF fans, and then after everybody saw it and the word got out, it was gone in the theaters because it is terrible.
That was what? Tiny Lister was his name?
Tiny Lister, Zeus,
Yeah.
right? And Hogan played
Zeus,
a
yeah.
professional champion wrestler named Rip Rogers, and he goes to fight. He actually kills Zeus at the end. That's how he wins the match, by the way. He kills Zeus.
Wow,
And the
okay.
crowd cheers. Rocky. Oh, wait, that's another movie.
Yeah,
Sorry.
exactly.
That's a better movie.
So when they do have the death matches that is popular with the blood, they actually did have one.
And just so you know,
that's-
by the way, what's interesting about Hogan's movie career is every movie got systematically worse after that. I mean, you think about Suburban Commando, right? Bad movie.
No, I don't think
Just
about
the
that at
name.
all, but yeah.
Blunder
Miss-
in Paradise.
Mr. Nanny, right? Where he literally wears a tutu. And then Santa with Muscles. Do you remember Santa with Muscles?
I don't remember any of these.
And then, of course, Thunder in Paradise, which was equally awful,
yeah.
too. But
That's when Kevin Nash made fun of him when he first showed up in WCW.
well, to be fair, Hogan did star in one successful movie. He had a cameo in one of the Muppets movies.
Well, Rocky 3. Come on.
And, well, yeah, that too. And he was also in Gremlins,
that's
too.
where we got Eye of the Tiger, man.
That's right.
And he
I'm
was
a
in
survivor.
Gremlins, too. Are you? So that's that. I just want to say a couple other things here. Talk about WWE Network. We mentioned it. It's on Peacock. You guys can get this awesome channel. WWE Network is amazing because not only does it have brand new, awesome programming like original stuff, they're always adding new programs, really cool, like behind the scenes stuff.
Can I tell you my favorite thing? They had where they do like the hidden camera video.
Yes.
And they have Ric Flair and his daughter trying to get in the arena backstage, and they let Charlotte in, and they stop Ric Flair like the guy does, right? And the guy's like, "Sir, can you tell me your name?" And you could just see Ric Flair starting to get like
he's
pissed
getting
off.
mad,
And
yeah.
he's like, "Really, Ric Flair?" And the guy looks at him. He's like, How do you spell that?" And Ric Flair doesn't skip a beat. He goes, FAMOUS. And like the guy, and he gets so mad,
Right.
he walks away. And like Charlotte has to like come out to like, it's like, no, it was like a joke, it's a thing.
It was
And
a prank.
He
was
was
mad.
not having
I
it.
did
man.
not even know about that. Oh, I gotta see
man,
that.
yeah, it was. I was like, holy shit! Like, but when he just didn't even skip a beat, like FAM, I was like,
that's
that is.
great,
I was
man.
like, that is the greatest line
And then you
ever.
probably take it. He goes, "These alligator shoes are more
Yeah, and he
than
just-
you, man."
And he's just walking away. He's just like, fuck
You know who
man.
Ric Flair is, right, Ben?
Yes.
Oh, see, that's how big he was, because even Ben knows. who
My
he was.
my nephews texted me. They were in Florida. They're like, we're at a bar in Florida, and Ric Flair just walked in. I was like, hang on. So I texted my sister, and I was like, solid job raising you, my nephews, that they knew
Nice.
That's right.
who Ric Flair was when he walked into a bar.
That's right.
Nice
And
work.
I'm pretty sure at some point in that bar later in the night, he got naked and probably sexually harassed
Well,
every
listen,
woman in the
Yeah,
place.
who needs a plane
It's
when you
not-
could do it
it's
in the
not
bar?
harassment if they want him to, and every
true.
woman wants Ric Flair to do that.
All right.
I speak for all women.
So WW Network, $9.99 a month. It's awesome because you can literally watch the history of every show in chronological order.
They even have the ECW and stuff. On
Oh,
there, too.
everything.
You can watch
WCW, ECW, all the
Von Erichs
regional
with the-
stuff back in the day, too.
I watch that a lot.
It's amazing. And you, if you're a fan of any kind and you don't have the network, you don't know what you're missing. Check it out.
And if you watch enough of it and you come and see one of our shows live, you'll be like, wait a minute, he just totally
Yes.
lifted that whole bit off of somebody. And I'll be like, no, I didn't.
It's not stealing. It's not stealing. It's an homage. It's a tribute. It's a tribute.
There's always the one wrestling nerd that's like, bro,
How'd you dare do that?
Hey, I want to make this quick announcement too. I know we're talking 80s, but I just found out recently. So WrestleMania 40 is next year, right? It's in April. It's being held April 6th and 7th. Check this out, man. It's WrestleMania XL, by the way. Now, what number is that? I just told you. 40.
Extra large.
Extra large.
Magic Mike.
So guess what? Hey, now. Don't be dissing Magic Mike. That's a great movie.
Horrible. It's about as bad as striptease.
Listen, WrestleMania 4 is coming to Philadelphia.
Ooh.
ECW came out of Philadelphia, which is pretty sweet. I usually don't have good things to say about Philadelphia.
Listen, we are a 4-hour drive away from Philadelphia. I'm thinking road trip. I'm thinking it's on my bucket list to attend a WrestleMania live. And we're not going to get any closer than this because it's not going to ever come to Pittsburgh. We're too small.
No.
I mean, I'm holding out hope that WrestleMania will come to the Greene County Fairgrounds, but it's never going to happen. So,
Call your contact. Tell them there's going to be thousands of people here.
Dude, that was 40 years ago. I don't know if the contact's still around, but
Thousands.
2-night event, April 6th and 7th at Lincoln Financial Field. Tickets are going on sale soon. Philadelphia will host 6 major WWE events at three different venues over 5 days during that during a WrestleMania week.
Wow.
SmackDown, Hall of Fame ceremony,
Vince,
Monday Night
if
Raw.
you're listening, I am available for some mic work. If you need it.
Yeah, let's do that. Leave comments and leave your contact
Thank you,
information on YouTube.
I'm always available because I have no gigs.
That's true.
Well,
And they're listen to this.
And I use words like climax.
Yeah. SmackDown Hall of Fame ceremony, Monday Night Raw, all at the Wells Fargo Center. And then they have massive fan events all throughout the week at the Pennsylvania Convention Center. And, of course, the 2-night event, April 6th and 7th at Lincoln Financial Field. I say we go.
I like it.
And I say maybe we try to get a live broadcast of Talk 80s to me there. What do you think, Ben? Think we could do we have a budget for that?
No, we do not.
Maybe we'll have a budget then. We'll see.
That would be, well, sponsors jump on board. We got a good group of people here.
Ryan, I
Sponsor
love
doesn't
you.
say anything.
Ryan, I love you because you're the perfect segue. Because I want to thank once again our sponsor for this awesome broadcast. It's an podcast. It's an awesome sponsor. Talk 80s to me, proudly sponsored by Apex Giant.
I'm pretty sure they threw in some free tickets to Rain Day this year.
Right?
Yeah, you guys-
Oh, man.
Man, it should be one of those,
It's a
pretty
local
badass.
festival.
the phone booths where you have like the money
the
flowing.
honky tonk man might be there.
Is he even still alive? I don't even know.
Yes. The
never
only
does.
reason why I know is because he was always still on with Iron Sheik with his like podcast. And it was the same thing with New Jack. So it
Oh,
was
yeah,
like
yeah,
those
New
three.
Jack,
Now,
yeah.
New Jack passed away from ECW.
Yeah.
But I think
That dude is scary.
Hey, by the way, and I'm glad you said podcast because if you go to Spotify and just type in WWE, WWF, there are literally hundreds of podcasts.
Or type in Talk 80s to me and you can hear this.
Yeah.
too.
But
yeah.
my favorite wrestling podcast, and I can't remember the guy's name. It's Bruce Pritchard and the other guy,
Bruce Lowe.
and
I did
and they do a great podcast called Something to Wrestle With.
Victor from the Ascension does Wrestling with the Struggle. I was on that before. That was pretty
Wow.
that was
Oh, that's
fun.
pretty
a
good.
one. Yeah.
So
That
I
was-
guess that's where the new 4 horsemen of Greene County,
Yeah,
Bucktown.
yeah. Hey, real quick, Mount Rushmore. Since we brought it up,
Okay.
Wait, no, you're getting me all sidetracked. www.apexgiant.com. Apex Giant, a great local business. Well, local to us, but
Made
if
in
you're
the
listening
USA.
to this in California, it isn't local.
Worldwide.
But
Must-
it is worldwide. It's
must
global.
have.
It's global, man. Great products, including the minimalist wallet, made in the USA, lifetime warranty. Great products. You got to check them out.
It's good for track pants too when you're just going out and about.
Yes. And dude, it's awesome. You'll love it. Go to the website. You can also go to www.hilltop packs.
Oh, we have 2 sponsors now.
Well, no, I just want to mention them as well.
Do you think you have a big backpacking following?
Yeah, absolutely. Hilltop Packs, check them out as
Well,
well.
if it's a loser leaves town, yeah, you're all going to have a
I
backpack.
only bring that up because I happen to have some awesome blogs written on that one. And you can check out some of my great writing on hilltoppacks.com. Is that the right website?
Sure.
Sure. So, real quick, Mount Rushmore, 4 top from the 80s now. Not of all time.
Does this have to be from WWF?
Ric
Yes.
Flair, Hogan.
Oh, Okay.
And
you can't say
Andre
Ric
the
Flair.
Giant.
You can't say Ric Flair.
He wouldn't. Make it.
Oh, 80s.
Oh,
for
yeah, that's
80s,
yeah, that's true.
Mount Rushmore of WWF
So we
80s.
got Hogan. We got Andre the Giant. Oof. Yeah.
I would say Big John Studd.
I don't know, man. He wasn't. He
I'm
didn't
gonna
have
put
a long
I'm
career.
gonna put the Iron Sheik on
What
there.
about that Slim Jim guy? Did Slim Jim?
Slim Jim. That's Macho Man Randy
Yeah,
Savage.
of course, Macho Man
You
has to
gotta
be
put
up there.
He's gotta be
Savage
up
What
on
about
there.
Killer Khan?
He has to be up there.
Macho
Ben,
Man has to be up there.
Great
Yeah, you're right.
job.
Thank you.
Macho
He
Man's
brings
on
up
there.
I like
Savage.
it. I like it.
Good
That's
work,
bullshit.
Ben. That's Ben. You came through in the clutch because that would have been a serious oversight.
What about
had we
Don
missed
Morocco?
that.
I like Slim Jim.
I like Don Morocco.
The fourth is going to be
The original Rock, by the way, the Rock Don Morocco, before Dwayne Johnson owned it.
That was actually the reason why I started watching wrestling was because of Rock's dad, Rocky Johnson.
Yeah.
When I watched him and Tony Atlas, and I'm like,
You
what?
watched Rocky's Johnson?
Yes.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, I watched him back there.
Did you climax when you watched it?
Okay, where's that dad joke at?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you got to finish up here.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch.
Well, did we agree then? Mount Rushmore. We're saying Hogan, Savage,
I don't have a fourth. I can't
Andre.
think of it.
Andre, and Iron Sheik.
Oh, right. No, I'd say Roddy Piper. I'd
Oh,
put Roddy
Piper.
up there.
Oh yeah, definitely Piper.
Yeah,
Right.
it's
Hogan, Savage, Piper, Andre.
Yeah, that's it.
And then
That's
Iron
it.
Sheik's behind with his little
Yeah, Iron
barbells.
Sheik. He's like, Hogan, I'll put you over, bud.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Listen, I want to personally thank you for this. This has been fun, man. Where are we at now? An hour or what? Are we right around
We're
the
gonna
time?
need the dad joke.
Hour and 50 minutes, probably.
15?
No.
It's dark. I have to
and
ride
10.
my
We're
bicycle
fine.
home. So
All right. Well, I just want to thank Ryan Baker. I want to
Ryan.
thank Adam. Oh yeah, let's clap.
Yeah.
I want to thank Adam Joad once again.
Mr. Wonderful. Thank you.
Listen,
Mr. Wonderful,
one day
definitely.
we're going to have a Hall of Fame up here, the Talk 80s to Me Hall of Fame. Adam will be the first inductee.
That's just because I live here and just keep coming out.
And we can't get rid of him, and that's why it's awesome that he's up here all the time.
Well,
But
that's how
we do.
they picked me up over at the courthouse in the corner.
Fuck yeah.
But I want to thank you, and I also want to thank Ben for being awesome
Thank
as
you, Ben.
always every
Yes,
week
thank you,
doing
Ben.
what he does.
Definitely.
You're awesome too.
Definitely.
So before we leave, I would like to provide you with my weekly dad joke. This is the short one. So, but this is true though, actually.
We have to say thank you too, Steve.
Oh, well,
Thank you. I
thank you.
appreciate
Nobody
it.
ever thanks me.
I appreciate
so thank
you.
you, Ryan. Do you appreciate me? Mm-hmm. Do you acknowledge me, Adam?
I acknowledge you.
Yeah, he acknowledges his phone.
I acknowledge.
I'm writing stuff down to remember that I took from wrestling.
Yeah, right.
That was a recipe you were looking up.
Yeah.
And May the 4th, I was right beside Ryan
Flambés.
Baker.
I was
How to
that-
make
I was texting-
flambés.
Texting Jim Shear. I was
Okay,
talking to
dad
people.
joke.
Shout
Tell
out
him
to
I said
Jim.
hi, by the way,
Yeah,
when you
I
talked
did.
to him.
Good friend.
Ah, dad
I'll do that
jokes.
right
So,
now.
did you hear about the new R-rated horror film coming out? It's called. It's supposed to be really scary. It's a new R-rated horror film. It's called
You
Constipation.
just said that joke last week.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I did not say that. Oh, wait, on Tuesday?
Yes, you the last episode.
Oh my
it's
gosh,
already
I
out there.
did.
Is that the only joke you have right now?
No, no,
Wow.
no.
He tried to pull. Listen, it's you. Not the listener doesn't know this, but it was just 3 days ago.
Okay,
2 days ago. 2 days ago.
it's such a good joke that I forgot that I forgot I already said it.
Well, here's one. Ask me if I'm an alligator.
Are you an alligator?
No.
That's solid.
Nah, wait. Ready? Ready? And the tired proctologist said, "Boy, am I pooped." Hey, good night.
Good night.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. Talk 80s to me, baby.